गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् ॐ श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। ॐ ममोपात्त समस्त दुरितक्षयद्वारा श्री परमेश्वर प्रीत्यर्थं श्री सद्गुरु प्रसाद सिद्ध्यर्थं शुभे शोभने मुहूर्ते अद्य भारतराष्ट्रस्य स्वतन्त्रतायाः अमृतमहोत्सवे अस्माकं भारतीयानां भक्ति बुद्धि कृति संयोजनेन हिन्दुराष्ट्रस्य पुनरुत्थान एकता जागरण सिद्ध्यर्थं शांति समृद्धि सुखेषु रतिसिद्ध्यर्थं विश्वविजय प्राप्त्यर्थं वयं यावच्छक्ति श्री भारत माता पूजां करिष्यामहे। ओम भारत मात्रे नमः।
ओम भारत मात्रे नमः।
ओम सुवर्ण खगायै नमः।
ओम भारत मात्रे नमः।
ओम सिंहवाहिन्यै नमः।
ओम भारत मात्रे नमः।
ओम हिमालय मुकुटायै नमः।
ओम भारत मात्रे नमः।
ओम समुद्रपाद प्रक्षालितायै नमः।
ओम भारत मात्रे नमः।
ओम अनेक भाषा साहित्य जन्मभूम्यै नमः।
ओम भारत मात्रे नमः।
ओम अध्यात्म ज्ञान स्वरूपिण्यै नमः।
ओम भारत मात्रे नमः।
ओम योग योगीश्वर्यै नमः।
ओम भारत मात्रे नमः।
ओम विविध संस्कृतिवासायै नमः।
ओम भारत मात्रे नमः।
ओम नित्यशुद्धायै नमः।
ओम भारत मात्रे नमः।
ओम विश्वजनन्यै नमः।
ओम भारत मात्रे नमः।
ओम अखंड भारत भूम्यै नमः।
ओम भारत मात्रे नमः।
ओम भारत मात्रे नमः।
ओम भारत मात्रे नमः।
नानाविध परिमल पत्र पुष्पाक्षतान् समर्पयामि। ॐ न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चन्द्रतारकं नेमा विद्युतो भान्ति कुतोऽयमग्निः तमेव भान्तमनुभाति सर्वं तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति। ॐ भारतमात्रे नमः। आनन्दमङ्गलकर्पूर नीराजनं सन्दर्शयामि। नीराजनानन्तरे शुद्ध आचमनीयं समर्पयामि। पुष्पैः पूजयामि, रक्षां धारयामि, नमस्करोमि। भारत माता की जय हिंद।
Namaste, Hari Om. Greetings to all of you and wishes on the 75th anniversary of India's independence. Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda, who even fought for the freedom of India and dedicated his life to freeing our minds to attain the infinite, as well as free our minds from the limitations of our thinking, made us in our Chinmaya Mission pledge always remember that the service of our country is the service of the Lord of Lords, and devotion to the people is devotion to the Supreme Self. Our Tiranga, our tricolored flag, represents the highest ideals for us, not just to salute, but to revere and imbibe, where we keep our spiritual knowledge of oneness of all beings as the highest ideal in the saffron that is there in our Tiranga. All the spiritual values that come of love, compassion, kindness, forgiveness, sharing, etc., comes from this spiritual ideal represented in the light of the sun, in the warmth of the fire, and therefore we hold that life of sacrifice and service, producing more than what we consume and giving more than what we take. The very spirit of yajna, the very burning of the fire and the giving of the sun, we hold as the highest ideal in our Tiranga to remember. At the center of the Tiranga is the purity of the heart and the constant wheel of dynamic peace. And in the flag we have the green, not only for recognizing nature's benevolence to us, but nature's resources and productivity that we generate through agriculture, etc. Productivity, producing more than what we consume and giving more than what we take. This is what our Tiranga represents. This is what the teachings of all our great rishis, saints, sages, our Guru Parampara, and particularly for which our Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda, in his national building program, in every program of the mission, has inculcated these values, this culture, this life. To live this life, we have to free our minds from our limitations, from a mere selfishness, but discover our greatest potential that lies in every resource, including human resource, of this great land of Bharat. Let us today, in our hearts, imprint this Tiranga. At every home, let us wave this Tiranga. Whatever background, race, religion we may belong to, we are Bharatiyas, we are Indians, and we salute our flag, which represents the highest ideals of the truth, of purity, and of sharing. Jai Bharat. Hari Om.
On 15th August 1947, India gained independence. With the help of freedom heroes like Mahatma Gandhi, Subhash Chandra Bose, Bhagat Singh, and many more, it gained independence. Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is a way to show the work and the sacrifice of freedom heroes for our nation. Also today, on this auspicious day, I can recall some famous lines by Mr. Rabindranath Tagore that our mind is without fear and our head is held high. This fits today's scenario perfectly. Our hero's dream of freedom is attained, but its greatness is still yet to be achieved. Today, India has a strategic geopolitical position in South Asia. Though on us, it acts as a responsible big brother, which is reflected by its friendly relations inspired by our forefathers. Economically, India is fifth largest, and socially, it empowers its women and sisters by schemes like Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, Poshan Abhiyan, which paved path to their success deriving from famous women like Rani Lakshmi Bai and Sarojini Naidu, and many more. Also, Panch Amrit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in COP26 is the best gift for our mother nature. The main motive of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is that it laid down the name of those freedom fighters that were completely lost in the books of history, like Tilsakri, Bora, and Rani Gaindal of Northeast India, and many more too. This is a mosaic to our culture and love for our nation.
जय जय हिंदुस्तान, यही हमारा Hari Om. India's first war of independence was the first time Indians united against the British Raj. This rebellion led to the dissolution of the East India Company's rule in India and shifted the powers of the company to the British Crown in 1858. After the establishment of the Indian National Congress in 1885, Mahatma Gandhi returned to India from South Africa in 1915, and in 1917, Mahatma Gandhi led an uprising of farmers of Champaran who were being forced to grow indigo and were not even being compensated enough for it. In 1919, the British government had released an order banning public gatherings to punish civilians for their disobedience. However, unaware of this order, thousands of Indians gathered at the Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar on April 13th to celebrate the festival of Baisakhi. Brigadier General Dyer called in troops and ordered them to open fire for 10 minutes at the mass gathering. This event promoted the start of non-cooperation movement. In 1921, Subhash Chandra Bose quit his high-paying ICS job in England to join India's struggle for independence. Shortly after his return, he joined Congress. He was sent to prison in 1925 and was released in 1927. Upon his release, he was made the president of All India Youth Congress and the secretary of Bengal State Congress. The Simon Commission was a group appointed in 1927 by the British government to report on the working of the Indian Constitution established by the Government of India Act 1919. The report proposed provincial autonomy in India but rejected parliamentary responsibility at the centre. Therefore, the commission was boycotted in Indian National Congress and most Indian political parties. Later in 1930, in an act of civil disobedience, Gandhiji took a crowd from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi Beach in a non-violent manner to protest against the repressive salt tax imposed by the British government. The Indian National Army was formed from among the Indian prisoners of war with the name of Liberating India from British rule. In 1943, Subhash Chandra Bose visited Japan, where he rebuilt the INA. He shaped it to be the effective instrument for the freedom of India, an army which had close to 45,000 soldiers. In October 1943, Bose formed a provincial government which had been recognized by the Axis powers during the Second World War. The Royal Navy had also initiated a hunger strike against the conditions of Indians in the Navy. The All India Congress Committee started the Quit India movement in their Bombay session on August 8, 1942. There was only one mission: to end the British rule in India. In addition, Gandhiji made a call to do or die in his Quit India speech that he delivered in Bombay. The Parliament of UK passed the Indian Independence Act. As per the Act, British India would be divided into India and Pakistan. The monarch gave its assent on July 18, 1947, and it came to effect on August 14th and 15th in Pakistan and India respectively. Wishing you all 75 years of independence. Happy Independence Day.
Vande Mataram Sujalam Sufalam Malaya Shitalam Shasya Shamala Mataram Vande Mataram सुखदां वरदां मातरं वन्दे 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 मातरं
Welcome to this time and space and to this very joyous occasion of celebrating India's 75th Independence Day with Chinmaya Mission and the young leaders in our panel from all over the country. My name is Anil Sachdev, and what a joyous occasion for me to celebrate the talent of all these young people and learn with them and from them. Today we are going to focus on the first aspect, saying what is Dharma? When India became independent, soon after that, we gave ourselves our constitution and we said, we the people give to ourselves on this day. And then we went on to describe our rights, which are also accompanied by our duties and responsibilities. We only can earn our freedom provided we take the responsibility of behaving like responsible citizens. So the first aspect our young leaders will reflect on is what is their understanding of the word dharma. Then they will go deeper into understanding what is their own swadharma. That will then take them to the conversation of saying, how does this understanding of dharma and swadharma inspire them to serve the nation, which Gurudev said in the Chinmaya Mission pledge. We believe that the service of our country is the service of the Lord of Lords, and devotion to the people is the devotion to the Supreme Self. So how does this understanding of Dharma and Swadharma inspire them to perform their duties towards Rashtra Dharma? And in all this, the underlying intrinsic knowledge of the Vedas and the Upanishads, Vedanta, taught to us by Gurudev, Sanatana Dharma. So how does the understanding of Sanatana Dharma help them to serve Rashtra Dharma based on their Swadharma, which is derived from the larger concept of Dharma? Let's start with you, Yutika. What is your own reflection about Dharma? What do you understand from this word, and what would you like to share?
For me, or whatever I have learned and understood about dharma, it means what is our duties or what is the law of being of a particular thing. Like for fire it is to burn, for water it is to be cold, and for sun it is to give light. So what is the innate law of being of us as a human being, and which I feel may have two divisions. One is Vishesh Dharma and other is Samanya Dharma. Samanya is common for all, which everybody as a human being should follow, like love, honesty, integrity, and all sacrifice, service, all those things. And Vishesh Dharma depends on an individual situation or work, where the person is born, or what is the age in which the person is, like he's a student, or he is in his brahmacharya or grahastha or vanprastha or sannyas ashram. Then also depends on what is my innate vasanas or desires which I am born with. So if I am working as a teacher, my swadharma can be to teach to my students the best, in the best way possible. If I am a grahastha, my duty is to take care of my child, my family. So that is part of dharma. And we residing in the Bharat Desh, we have the great Sanatan Dharma, which is the most ancient, and we should be proud of it. And Swami Shivanand ji says that dharma is the sustainer of life. So if we follow our dharma, it sustains the social life. So that is what dharma does. Thank you.
That's very nice to hear. These are very insightful comments, Yutika. And Dikshita, if I may turn to you, what is your own understanding of this whole notion of dharma? And what does it stand for? And what does your voice guide you about dharma?
Thank you, Anilji, for the question. Actually, the previous speaker has covered the major points about dharma. I would just like to add one more perspective to it. The word dharma is derived from the Sanskrit root dhrim dharani. The word dharma means dharati lokaniti. Now the word loka can have many meanings. That is, it can mean the world, it can mean people, it can mean society. Here I would like to take the aspect of world. Dharati lokan means dharma is that which upholds the world. Now, how does it uphold the world? Okay, there is another Sanskrit word known as rhythm. Rhythm can be translated as the rhythm, that is the English rhythm, that is the harmony in the world. So this dharma establishes the harmony in the world. What is my role here? When I ask myself this question, so the answer I get is, when I set myself into this rhythm, and that way, and after that, so when I set myself, I follow the dharma. So how can that be done? So when I orient my thoughts, my opinion, my reactions to the various political and the social happenings around me, and when that is done, I feel Bharat Mata will help me to serve her in one way or the other when I make everyday attempts. Thank you.
Those are some wonderful insights, Dikshita. Thank you very much. And Amit, let me turn to you now. This whole concept of Swadharma, what does this mean to you, Swadharma, and your identification with this particular concept?
Yes. Namaskar. Swadharma means inner calling, means following your own natures, where you are interested, in which field you are interested, and where your inner calling is, you do your duties. The main Swadharma in Bhagavad Gita says, Swadharme nidhanam sreya paradharmam bhayavaha. Means if we following our own natures, where we have interest, where we are in inclination towards our field, where we can give 100% best, that is called Swadharma. If we take an example of Arjuna wanted to become a sannyasi. Then Krishna said, this is not your Swadharma. This is your Swadharma is as a warrior, you have to fight the battle. You cannot escape from the war zone. So the main meaning is we should we should follow our inner calling. And most important, like nowadays people say passion. So when my gunas meeting towards and help the society and countries as well, that is Swadharma. And second things, we can say that where I can use my all the energies towards his field, that is also Swadharma. So doing our own duties or inner calling, inner nature, that is called Swadharma.
Thank you, Amit. That was really very nice to hear. I think the depth of your thinking and the simplicity with which you explain Swadharma is so nice to hear. Nasira, what does Swadharma mean to you and how do you identify with this concept? Can you share from your own life story as to what this is about?
Swadharma for me is to be your own true self. Knowing that your happiness does not depend on anything else. As Gurudev says, don't put the key to your happiness in someone else's pocket. Highlighting this concept, I remember a story of a monk who wanted to meditate, so he took out his boat and went into the middle of the lake. After hours of undisturbed silence, he feels the bump of another boat colliding with his own. He gets very angry and is about to open his eyes and scream at the boatman when he realizes that it is actually an empty boat that probably got untethered and floated into the middle of the lake. This monk then realizes that anger, happiness is within me. I am largely responsible for my own happiness, and for that, I need to discover my true nature. That is my Swadharma.
Thank you, Asira. Thank you for your very thoughtful comments and contribution to this conversation. And Sarvesh, may I turn to you? You know, as we discuss from Dharma to Swadharma, and now we move on to Rashtra Dharma. So what does Rashtra Dharma mean to you? And how does this show up in your action and in your endeavors?
So Rashtra is nation, and Dharma, as each of the panelists before me have so eloquently put, is our inner calling. So Rashtra Dharma, one can infer, would be the inner calling to serve our nation. But for me personally, the nation is a lot more than a geographical area. It is defined by the communities that live within it, the cultures that they uphold, and the heritage that they cherish. So for me, I believe that my Rashtra Dharma entails that I be an active part of the community. I enrich the lives of those around me. I sacrifice whatever I can in whichever way possible for the nation. It can be something as simple as consuming local products. It can be something as grand as trying to make a big difference in any given sector for India. For me personally, since I'm a student of science and I have always been interested in sustainability, I would like to contribute to a future where India is a flag bearer of global sustainability and a beacon of sustainable and cyclical economy.
Thank you very much, Sarvesh, for those very wise comments. For somebody so young to have that kind of vision is so nice to hear. And Yash, what are you moved to share about this concept of Rashtra Dharma? What do you sort of feel about being inspired by this whole notion of Rashtra Dharma?
Rashtra Dharma means service to the nation. If we are following our duties properly and if you are ready to serve the nation in any situation, that is your Rashtra Dharma. The way we love ourselves, our bodies, our home and property, money, and we do not let it be destroyed or robbed of. Similarly, we must be in love with our nation's treasure, water, ground, forest, herb and soldiers, and must not let it be destroyed or robbed of. If a child in our homes sleep hungry, remains uneducated or lives his life in penury and insult, then as parents our eyes become wet and we can't sleep comfortably. Similarly, we should be sensitive towards the hunger, illiteracy and insult of it 840 million people of our country. They are our people, and until we ensure they get their right to live with dignity, till then we should not sit comfortably.
Thanks a lot, Yash, for your very insightful comments and for your rich contribution to this conversation. I think the future of India is in good hands with people like all of you today. Shiva, let me ask you now this question. You know, we've been discussing Dharma, Swadharma and Rashtradharma. But how does our understanding of Sanatana Dharma, which we have learned through the teachings of Puja Gurudev and our Chinmaya Mission family, so how does the understanding of Sanatana Dharma, Shiva, enable us to contribute to Rashtradharma, Swadharma and Dharma?
There's a beautiful quote by your Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananda, that says, keep the goal high, so high that you don't reach the goal. Because reaching the goal is not the goal. When you strive to reach the goal, that is when you evolve. So that should be our motto as well. That is a learning I got from our Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananda. I belong to a very humble background. I belong to a village from Uttar Pradesh. But I understood my inner calling is acting. I decided to become an actor. But when I understood that this is a big field, how will I survive? How will I go there? But that is when I remember this quote of Gurudev, that keep the goal high. And when we follow this teaching, we know that nothing is impossible for us to achieve. Because when you keep the goal high, you strive every time. At the same time, I remember our revolutionary Khudiram Bose. He was an 18-year-old boy when he was hanged. And when he was going to be hanged, he chanted one shloka from Bhagavad Gita. He was following Bhagavad Gita and he said, Vasansi jirinani yatha vihai, navani grihnati naro parani, tatha sharirani vihai jirinan, anyani samyati navani dehi. This, like how old clothes take place of new clothes, similarly, new clothes take place of old clothes. Similarly, my body, I cast off this body, but my spirit will be there to fight for this country. So these are the learnings we get from our scriptures, from our teachers.
Thanks a lot, Shiva. Those are really very, very wise comments, very, very good insights on this whole concept, and thank you for sharing those. And lastly, may I turn to Sumi. Sumi, your understanding of Sanatana Dharma as you learned from Puja Gurudev's teaching and from the Chinmaya Mission family, how does that enable you to perform your duties towards Rashtradharma? You're living the concept of Swadharma and Dharma.
Hari Om. Thank you, Anil ji, for giving us the opportunity to talk about Swadharma and Rashtradharma today in nice occasion. And the question you asked is how to go with Rashtradharma by following Swadharma. And before me, Shiva has answered very nicely. In adding that, I would like to say, when we built a house, we always focus in a pillars, because in that pillars, the house will stand for. Similarly, India always stands for its values, its scriptures, where we can say proudly that we are coming from a country where it values for the scriptures. It has a great value, and that value is in us. Within that values, we can contribute more and more. Now the question is how to contribute myself. How can I contribute towards my country? Because when I know my potential, when I know my values, I can add more and more. Like Shiva has given such a nice example of Khudiram Bose, right? In that way, when each and every person, they should know about their potential. And when we say Sanatan Dharma, it's not just in scriptures. It's not just written a few lines. It is a life lessons where they said ki how I can develop my potential which can contribute towards the nation, right? When we talk about development, it doesn't mean economical growth or infrastructural growth or maybe the road and all. It always depends how we are talking about our values, how our values can help us in the development. When we say we are developing, in which manner we are saying about the developing? I'm working for a development sector, so in my thought, you can always find that development things, right? When we say I can follow my dharma, which can help me to work, to contribute towards my Swadharma and Rashtra Dharma, that is more important. And today, each and every youth should know their potential, should know their scriptures. Because nowadays, our scriptures, our tradition, our culture is always questions. And why we are not answering? Because we are not aware. So when I know myself, when I know my dharma, when I know my Sanatan Dharma or my scriptures, then I can answer. I can be a better person who can contribute more and more towards the country's development, right? So today in this platform, I just want to say that when I am aware of my own dharma, I can help the Rashtra to lead more and more and to lead to a certain point. So thank you.
Is there anything else that any one of you are inspired to share on what can you do on a daily basis? Some of it which you already might be doing to serve the country as, this whole Chinmaya Mission pledge.
Thank you, Anilji. So, Deen Dayalji said that structure of the society should be a spiral. It's not a concentric circle, it's a spiral. That is starting from an individual, then going to the family, then society, then country, and then to the world. So, my ideal is Ramji, who went for 14 years on the exile, and he went to search for his wife Mata Sita. But on that 14 years of his journey, he worked for integrating all the castes together, the fishermen, everybody together. He established the good, he destroyed the bad. So I'm trying to follow that where I am teaching, I try to inculcate the values which I have gained to my students. As a mother, I try to inculcate those values to my child and not make them self-centered or selfish for working for their own interests. If they are excelling in some field, that they dedicate to the country, to the nation. Child development of the child, that happens at the nation level. And how can I imbibe that? Only when I myself follow those values. So that is my dedication to the country. Thank you.
Be it Swadharma, be it Rashtra Dharma. I think the most important aspect to really follow this dharma of ours is clarity of thought. Consistent and continuous questioning, continuing to dive deeply and ponder upon the meaning of our dharma. Why is it that we associate our Swadharma to be something? That is going to allow us to gain true clarity of thought. Because if we don't have a clear understanding of what our dharma is, then I think that leads to misguided action, which is not in keeping with ourselves. And that can be truly detrimental. And in such a case, I think misguided action is worse than inaction.
So, if you ask me, I think dharma are the roots of a tree, right? That gives you a lot of, strength. It gives you nourishment like the Lord gives us. So, dharma is the roots. Fruit is swadharma. Fruit is your USP, your unique special property, which everyone distinctly we have our own. That is the fruit. Now, what we do with the fruit is Rashtra Dharma. If you use that fruit only for your own enjoyment and your own pleasures, where you are gaining money for yourself and status, fame, everything, that is, maybe it is more Rajasic, you are using that fruit, right? But Rashtra Dharma only happens if you dedicate it to the altar, which is our Bharat Mata, which is our Mother India. So, your Swadharma, how you dedicate that Swadharma, that is going to be the first and the most important, daily life ritual which we can practice. So anyone who is into any profession, whether they are working at a corporate office, they are a lawyer or a psychologist like me, every action, every thought, we need to dedicate it to our altar of, love, which is our country. Because if we serve everyone, only then we will be able to transcend our own limitations. That's the first, probably ritual that I would like to apply. And second is practicing a lot of noble values in your daily life, right? Because noble values like, let's say, humility, integrity, fearlessness, these noble values will transform you. And in one of the satsangs where Guruji had asked someone that what is the best service you can do, to the nation. And very interesting answer came up. Someone said that the best seva that you can do for your own country is your own self-transformation. And I think all our saints of India, that's what they help us understand, that transform yourselves and only then you can inspire someone else.
We have just witnessed and experienced some very wonderful insights from our young panelists. They began by explaining that dharma means are doing the right thing for all stakeholders, is being fair to serve the well-being of all, not just having a limited perspective on what is in the interest of one stakeholder. That is the whole meaning of the spirit of India and the spirit of our constitution. This amazing insight to say, when I source self-awareness based on Sanatana Dharma, then I am truly inspired to serve the well-being of all. I serve my country not only by excelling in my chosen field, but also contributing to the well-being of others, in the process raising the standards of the entire country. So it has been wonderful to listen to these amazing insights from these young people. And therefore, the true spirit of the Chinmaya Mission pledge, which many of us learned as Balavihar children, which says,
stand as one family, bound to each other with love and respect. We serve as an army, courageous and disciplined, ever ready to fight against all low tendencies and false values within and without us. We live honestly the noble life of sacrifice and service, producing more than what we consume and giving more than what we take. We seek the Lord's grace to keep us on the path of virtue, courage and wisdom. May thy grace and blessings flow through us to the world around us. We believe service of our country is a service of the Lord of Lords. And devotion to the people is a devotion to the Supreme Self. We know our responsibilities. Give us the ability and courage to fulfill them.